Man, I see so many websites and books out there saying royalties are this or royalties are that, and it's all so damn confusing. Well, let's clear the air here. I'm here to settle the score once and for all. Before we get started, I wanted to say one thing. If there's anything you want to keep in the back of your mind throughout this entire video, it is this. Songwriters write compositions. Artists make recordings of compositions. If you have that in your head, you'll be good throughout the entire thing. So let's start off by discussing the two main types of royalties you're going to have, which are performance royalties and mechanical royalties. First, let's talk about performance royalties, which go to the artist. And these royalties are generated anytime your song is performed publicly. And by perform, no, I don't just mean like physically with a guitar or drums or anything. I mean anytime it streams in a bar, anytime somebody plays your song live, or it's on TV or radio, that will gain a performance royalty. Now on the other side of that, there's the second type of royalty, which is a mechanical royalty, and these go to the songwriter. This royalty has a lot more to do with the actual composition. But don't get confused. Legal documents say that you'll gain a mechanical royalty every single time your song is mechanically reproduced, which essentially just means every single time your song is recreated, retransmitted, or rebroadcasted in any way. So you will also gain mechanical royalties when you get a CD purchase, but at the same time you will still gain those royalties when you have a digital download or a digital stream of your song. So just to keep things clear in your head, any type of on-demand music that is available to people, that will also gain a mechanical royalty. Now, if you're still confused, let's focus on the subject of Spotify. Spotify has been the point of contention for a lot of media recently, and that's because of its low royalty payouts, but it's getting better. So Spotify obviously pays both royalties, but it'll pay about 10% to the actual songwriter, both royalties, performance and mechanical, and about 60% to the actual artist. This is also because current copyright law was not created when digital streaming was a thing, so it had to take it for what it was, which was essentially a hybrid between a performance and a mechanical reproduction of a song. Since mechanicals are paid to the actual songwriter who holds the copyright, it is his choice whether or not he actually wants to share that money with anybody else. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's important to note that you do need something called a mechanical license in order to successfully reproduce a song, and this is done in two ways. The first way is compulsory mechanical licensing, which is just for big companies and digital streaming services, everything like that, so that way they can obtain a blanket license for tons of songs. So all those services like iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, they all need a blanket compulsory license in order to do what they do. The second type is just a plain old mechanical license for songwriters who want to recreate songs like in a cover situation or anything like that. So just to make it incredibly clear, if you're a songwriter and you just want to make a cover of a song, you do not need a compulsory license, you just need a regular mechanical license. Here's the biggest difference between the two. Mechanical licenses need permission from the songwriter in order to recreate the song. Blanket compulsory licenses do not. Why? Well, if every single digital streaming service had to get permission from every songwriter that's ever put a song on a digital streaming service, it would take way too much time and the paperwork would be crazy. So instead, there's an opt-in feature where they can buy a blanket license, and this license covers all the music under that specific organization. The statutory rate for mechanical royalties is actually set by the government and is determined by individual songs. So as it stands, the current royalty rate for full downloads of a song is 9.1 cents for a song 5 minutes or less in length, and then $1.75 of each minute after or fraction thereof, which essentially means even if your song is 5 minutes and 1 second, the end user still needs to pay for that 6th minute of your song. Now let's move on to which organizations actually help you collect these royalties, because obviously you can't go out there and do it all yourself. Performance royalties are collected by organizations called performing rights organizations, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you've heard me talk about them. PROs are things like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, all of those. Now, I wanted to say a couple quick things just to clear some air about performing rights organizations. First of all, performing rights organizations do not collect mechanical royalties, so don't get that mixed up. We'll talk about mechanical royalty collections in just a second. Number two, performing rights organizations do not give out mechanical licenses. Again, performing rights organizations. I know I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this, but a lot of people do screw this up. Performing rights organizations just give out licenses so that people can recreate the songs publicly, and that's pretty much all they do. Now you might be asking, what if the bar decides to stream my song through its speakers, which is a very good question. In that case, bars will have to obtain the appropriate licenses, and once they stream your song, that is considered both a public performance and a mechanical reproduction, so both royalties will be paid out just like Spotify. So naturally, we now need to talk about who collects mechanical royalties. And again, a lot of people think it's the performing rights organizations, but it's not. It's actually an agency called the Harry Fox Agency. And this is the US firm that gives out mechanical licenses and collects mechanical royalties for the artists. It is the US firm because each separate country has its own agency that does this. If you're asking whether or not you need to register with those other countries' organizations in order to collect international plays, the answer is yes. But a lot of the time, that's when people start to go to publishers and publishing companies in order to make sure all the administrative rights are taken care of. The other reason people go through a publishing company is because you may have your songs on Pandora, but Pandora is going to have a hard time tracking you down. A publishing company is a much bigger target. They know where to send the money, and the publishing company pays you your share. They will take a percentage of it, but it's way better than getting nothing for everything you put your hard work into. Okay, really quick, we're going to discuss two other types of royalties that are not talked about as much, and this will also cover the whole debate over whether or not a cover on YouTube is actually legal or illegal. The first one is called a sync license, which is short for synchronization licenses, and you need to go through the Harry Fox agency to get them. Now, people obtain sync licenses when they want to take your song and sync it to a video. This could be either a music video or just a visual aspect of some kind. Now, it also means that anytime you do a YouTube cover, because you're adding a video component, you do need a synchronization license. So if you are doing covers on YouTube, get your licenses. You will need them. The other lesser known royalty is something called a print royalty, and this is gained every single time somebody recreates the actual physical composition of your song. So examples of this would be things like lyrics, sheet music, or lead sheets. Now, obviously, this was a very booming business, and it kind of still is today, but there are things now like lyric sites that typically pay for their licenses through advertising and have swallowed up a lot of that business. But wait, what if I want to put a song on an album that is not my song? Number one, you need the permission of the songwriter. It is within his exclusive rights to say who can and cannot recreate the song. Number two, if you're releasing that album through a record label, you need to figure out how much that record label is willing to pay the songwriter for a royalty. If they're not willing to go the full rate and you promise the full rate to the songwriter, then the extra money is coming out of your pocket, so be careful. Number three, you will still gain a royalty from the song, but it will not be the mechanical royalty. They have the option to share it with you, but just bet that 99.99% of the time they will not. Now, just in terms of being a new artist with a new label, you can bet your royalty rate is somewhere between 13% and 16% of wholesale on a CD. So 13% is probably where you're going to be, or 14%. But if you're getting 15 or 16%, that either means they really like you or your record is doing really well. So keep it up. Now, I don't want to cloud you with too much information that you won't need right away, but the last topic I want to talk about is something called cross-collateralization, and this is very tricky, so if you're having trouble with it, leave a comment for me, or if you just have any additional questions, I'd be happy to get back to you. Let's say this glass of water represents one of your newest albums that you did through the record company. Now, the water inside it represents the money that you owe the record company for recording costs, a producer, anything like that, and the ability to suck the water out is your income stream reducing that cost. Now, the income stream is everything from touring to record sales to digital downloads and all that. Let's say you can't make that drain in time and uh-oh, Sonny Jim, it's time for record 2. So now we have a problem on our hands, right? If we even drink some of this water out. Okay, now we have a little less water in this glass, but obviously we got 2 glasses going, but I only got 1 mouth. So that means I only have 1 income stream for 2 CDs, and that's a problem. So with cross-collateralization, basically this income stream from album 1 can be used to do album 2, and album 2's income stream can be used for album 1. So vice versa, either way it goes. So all of your income that's coming in can be used to pay off both of these, and it doesn't matter where it's coming from. Now, this is not just for record sales. This is for touring, this is for merch, this is for publishing, everything. And as a new artist, this will most likely happen to you. So just be careful of that and stay educated. Hey, did you like that last video? If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down there. Make sure you hit the notification bell along with it to get all the updates. It'll also let the little elves and robots at YouTube know that more people want to see content, which would be pretty great.